Hello everybody, Stuart here from The Political. In this video we'll be bringing you 10 reasons against Scottish independence. Number 1 is the shared history of the United Kingdom. The UK has been the most successful political, social and economic union in the history of the world. The UK as a country has seen countless successes, including establishing the world's first modern democracy, having the largest empire the world has ever seen, defeating Nazi Germany, being the inventors of some of the world's most useful devices, making scientific advances, leading the industrial world and the establishment of the railway system, and the establishment of the National Health Service, and this is just to name a few. Being part of something which has proven itself so successful would be for many not something that would be worth giving up. A second reason against Scottish independence is the national identity and shared culture of the UK. At present, those who are living in Scotland have an almost dual nationality of being both Scottish and British. The closeness of the people of the UK in terms of culture and identity is closer than that of many even within single countries, such as within Belgium and Canada, where greater differences such as in language exist. The patchwork relationship of the countries of the UK have led to cultural crossovers, for example literary icons such as James Bond and Sherlock Holmes. At present we enjoy much of the same culture as those in other parts of the UK, sharing literature and music tastes, as well as the BBC and other television. Changing our national identity for the sake of politics or economic issues is something many do not wish to do. At number 3 is world stage representation. At present, the UK is the only country in the world to be in the Commonwealth, the G7, the G8 and the G20, the UN, the EU and NATO. In the event of independence, Scotland would certainly lose some of its current power and representation on the world stage. Coming in at number 4 is the best of both worlds idea, and the potential for more powers for Scotland following a no vote. At the moment, Scotland already has control over the majority of issues which affect us, as well as being in control of the majority of spending. For example, in 2008, 28 of £47 billion of Scottish spending was controlled by the Holyrood government. All parties in Westminster have made a promise that in the event of a no vote, the Scottish Government would be given more powers, especially in revenue raising and in welfare to work. The UK is becoming an increasingly less centralised state. Currently some call it a pseudo-federal system. In other nations such as in the USA and Germany, a federal system allows each state within the country to have a huge amount of control over their own affairs, with defence, international representation, etc. being centrally controlled. Many would argue that what the UK needs is a more federal system, and what Scotland needs is increased power, closer to Devo Max or Devo Plus, rather than to become a separate state altogether. At number 5, to protect jobs that depend on the Union. There are many jobs which rely on the Union, such as at Fastlane, in the UK forces, and in large companies such as Standard Life, where their headquarters is located in Scotland, but which have a predominantly English client base. In addition to this, Scotland trades with the rest of the UK more than everywhere else in the world put together. Gordon Brown has claimed that almost 1 million jobs in Scotland depend on the United Kingdom. At number 6 on our list is to retain control over the currency and use of the pound. One of the most topical issues presently is Scotland's currency. There is a worry that in the event of independence, the currency union idea of the SNP would not come into reality. If the currency union did not come about, Scotland could still use the pound, but would have no control, as its interest rates etc. are set at the Bank of England. At present, Scotland, as part of the UK, both has control over and use of the pound. The 7th reason against Scottish independence is resource pooling for pensions and welfare. The United Kingdom's tax and spend system currently pools and shares the resources of 63 million people, compared to an independent Scotland's 5.3 million. Of course, it is all proportional to the amount of money spent versus tax input. With a larger pooling size, it is easier to help when one area or demographic in society has difficulties. As Gordon Brown stated, Scots, English, Welsh and Northern Irish pool and share resources to deliver our pensions, healthcare and child benefits, as well as our defence. When one part of the country gets into difficulty, another part helps. We have the same pensions, rights, the same basic rights to healthcare and our health services, education, pensions and child benefits are funded from UK taxes paid according to people's ability to pay, with resources distributed across the UK according to the needs of each region and nation. At number 8 is the temporary nature of politics and the permanence of the decision. Many of the arguments, even in this video, are based on politics today, and whilst this appeals to people, it does not grasp the importance of the decision facing Scotland. In a recent poll, given an increase of £500 per year in the wealth of an individual, people would vote one way or another in the independence referendum. In addition to this, many who have stated their desire to vote yes have done so on the back of recent welfare cuts and the prominence of Conservative governments, certainly on the basis of current politics. In the last 100 years, only a third of the length of time the Union has existed, the UK has seen the change from a two-party system of the Conservatives and one party that does not exist anymore, the Liberals, universal suffrage, the Liberal reforms, the rise of the Labour Party, the modern welfare state and the NHS, industrialisation and the decline of state industries, and more recently the rise of neoliberalism. This referendum result will be permanent, current politics will not be. It would be unfair to say that only one side of the debate has used temporary issues to appeal to voters. However, the Yes campaign arguably has more reliance on it. A decision to leave the Union based on something temporary is a questionable one. Political issues are temporary, and the referendum decision will not be. A penultimate reason to vote no in the Scottish independence referendum is the strength and size of the UK economy. The UK is the sixth largest economy in the world and the third largest in Europe. In 2013, the UK was the fourth largest exporter in the world and the fourth largest importer, with the second largest stock of inward foreign direct investment and outward foreign direct investment. Being part of this economy currently benefits Scottish businesses, who do 65% of their trade to the rest of the UK, with only 35% to the rest of the world combined. The size of the UK was instrumental in the ability to bail out the banks, with the recent financial crisis, where RBS required a bailout of £45 billion, something far more affordable when carried out by a nation the size of the UK, rather than a nation the size of Scotland. Currently, the Scottish financial sector is 12 times the size of Scottish GDP. Being so large, in the event of a financial crisis, the effects are easier to deal with within a larger economy. At number 10 are universities, free tuition fees and research funding. At present, Scottish universities get 1/3 of the UK's research spending, despite those living in Scotland only making up 8.4% of the population. In the event of independence, to continue to fund research to this extent, large increases in spending would have to occur. Current free tuition fees are a cornerstone of the Scottish Government's achievements. At present, however, universities in Scotland are able to generate a large amount of revenue as a result of being able to charge students from the rest of the UK tuition fees, often £9,000 a year for 4 years. This is not possible for students from other member states of the EU due to European law, and as such, they get access to free tuition fees too. If Scotland was independent and part of the EU, the rest of the UK would be a different member state, and thus to continue with free tuition fees, Scotland would have to provide them for students from the rest of the UK, thus causing a large increase in spending for the Scottish Government and/or a decrease of funding for our universities. Thank you for watching our video of 10 reasons against Scottish independence. Of course, we were not able to cover every issue and argument which is being raised in debate. However, I hope we have managed to cover some of the main arguments and some issues of interest. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for a variety of videos relating to UK politics. I've also made a video of 10 reasons for Scottish independence, and this will be found in the description below. Please visit thepolitical.co.uk for a variety of sources of political news, blogs and videos.